Hello guys and welcome. We are 13 minutes away from CyberPunk 2077 gameplay reveal. I am really looking forward to this, as you can tell. I apologize about the sound as well, guys. If the audio is a little bit too loud, or I am a little bit too loud on the mic, then please let me know. You can see already the anticipation building up for this. I've been in this chat for almost two hours waiting on Twitch, and already we got close to 50,000 people all tuning into Twitch right now to watch CyberPunk 2077 live, which is gonna be amazing. I think for sure is gonna be amazing. I'm really hyped for this, and I hope you guys are too. Now, I am incredibly nervous doing this right now, because I've never done anything like this on YouTube before. So being able to do this is it's kind of like a little bit of a dream come true, even though I know we are miles away as a channel, but the support I've had from you guys recently has been absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, guys, I could be more thankful for everybody that's been helping the channel grow. You know, we've shot from like 400 subscribers to like 600 to 650 subscribers, almost in what feels like a blink of the eye. You know, I've been talking to you guys a lot. I've got a few more things, hopefully, for the channel. Obviously, this is like the first live stream reaction that I've ever done for this channel, so we'll see how this goes, and I'm hoping if it goes well, and even just 1 or 2 people jump in, I'll consider that a win. I will consider that a win immensely. So we're 11 minutes, guys, to go, and we've got already 51,000 people, man, all just waiting for CyberPunk to drop. And that's probably not including the people like Mad Queen Show, who covers CyberPunk. So obviously she's been covering CyberPunk for years with this game. So you can imagine the amount of people that will be in her chat, probably reacting to this right at this very moment as well. Big shout out to Mad Queen Show as well. Absolutely love the channel. And Young Year as well. Just seen Young Year go live. And like I said, Young's obviously one of the biggest channels on YouTube for like just covering all sorts of games, the game industry as a whole. So you can imagine that you'll get a fair few viewers as well. So, well, like I said, guys, I'm just happy to have you guys here with me more than anything. Or even just taking the time to watch this. 10 minutes to go! Oh, something happened. It turned red. So, CG brought it red. Of course he was going to turn red. Of course it was. Oh, I'm really excited for this, guys. Really, really excited. One of the main reasons I'm really excited for this is, like you said, CG Projekt Red has been an amazing developer, just for how much detail they put into the open world. You know, the care and love as well they put into it is been absolutely amazing. You know, and then on top of that is just there's no shady monetization. This is a standout company from very, very humble beginnings as well. Their rise has been on goodwill, you know, customer faith, just going that one step above everybody else, and they deserve that praise, and they deserve the hype that CyberPunk 2077's brought for them. Apart from these guys and Rockstar, probably there's not many companies that instantly get that hype going for games before, like, worldwide audience, before they've even shown that much, you know. I can only name I feel like I said, with being CD Projekt Red, Rockstar, Kojima as well has got that cult following, because you know that what you get with Kojima games, they're always weird, wacky, fun. Everything that you kind of want in a game is there, and you know that all these developers deliver top quality no matter what. And it's nice to see that the gaming industry still has developers like that. Maybe not so much Rockstar, because they're under the umbrella of Take-Two, and you could possibly say that Grand Theft Auto Online and Red Dead Online are there to nickel and dime, and to a certain extent they are. But the good thing about Rockstar is they always deliver on the single player aspect of it as well. That's the more important thing. They nail the single player game down. They nail the experience, the story, and then if they want to do other online stuff like that, then they can. You know, I don't begrudge them for that, as long as they deliver. Now, if they didn't deliver this on the single player part, and then started nickel and diming and stuff like that, that's where your Activisions, your Ubisofts, and all that come in. Your EA is, and the quality of gaming it's not quite there compared to how it used to be, you know, which is really unfortunate, because you had so many hits and so much nostalgia back in the day when people did it for the love, without all these microtransactions and loot boxes and stuff in games. And people still enjoy it, I suppose, but it's personally, I don't think it's as enjoyable as it was about 10 years ago for some games. But then you always get some gems like God of War, you know, Witcher 3, Horizon Zero Dawn. Those are the games that stick with me this generation, because they're just beautifully crafted stories done for the love of it, which, you know, isn't as much as it should be these days, admittedly. But like I said, guys, I can't wait to jump in this, get and do this reaction with you guys. Like I said, I'm not expecting fireworks with people watching, but like I said, if I get 1 or 2 people in, that's a win on my book. But I'm generally just here to geek out about Cyberpunk 2077. I really looking forward to this game. We are 5 minutes away, guys. 5 minutes away. Absolutely phenomenal. We're almost up to 70,000 people. The anticipation is building. The chat's going faster than my eyes can read. It's just zooming past. How can any moderator do their job when the chat's just going crazy? More messages below. It's like, can't even do it. Come on, guys. Let's add some Reapers in there. Let's add some Neon Reapers to the chat. Woohoo! There we go. Oh, and I'm gone. Straight away. Boom. Gone. Gone. There is Reapers somewhere in that stream. Somewhere in that stream. This is purely, like I said, a monumental occasion. Not only just because I get to see some Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay, but obviously to be able to do it for my YouTube channel as well. And I, like I said, really enjoy getting to interact with you guys. You know, I didn't fall asleep till like 5 o'clock yesterday because I was talking to some guys in my Discord that's from my YouTube, and it was it's always amazing, you know, being able to interact with you guys. Come on, Jimmy Jack! So do you want to start the stream later? Yo, homie! Thanks, guys, for jumping in. Yeah, man, I will do the stream. I've had this CyberPunk 77 stream scheduled for a while now on my channel, so I'm really looking forward to this. What about you? What about you, Jimmy? And you, Jed? Are you looking forward to CyberPunk 2077? I know I am. Absolutely can't wait for it. I hope the audio, guys, is fine. My streaming software kind of screwed up on me a little bit, so I'm actually streaming through YouTube, which I've never done before. So hopefully the sound and quality is decent for you guys. I hope I'm not like muted. That would be a disaster. So I'm actually streaming through. I hope you like it, and I hope you guys can hear the audio quality is. Hell yeah! Thank you, man. Yeah, Jimmy. I'll message you back in a bit, bud. I did see the message pop up, man, but obviously, like I said, we're focusing purely on CyberPunk at the minute. So as we do that, I'm really looking forward to it. Do my Logan Paul parody. I'm looking forward to it too, man. 2 minutes away. 2 minutes away. I'll message you back in a bit, bud. I did see the message. 2 minutes away from CyberPunk 2077. I'm looking forward to this stream that we're going to do, Jimmy, man. Like I said, I did see the message. Purely focused on the CyberPunk. Really looking forward to this. So we'll sort something out, man. We'll sort something out for sure. For sure. I really appreciate you guys jumping in as well. So and it'll be a first for the channel. Like I said, I wasn't expecting 50 million people in here, you know. So just the fact that there's a couple of you guys in, I really appreciate it. I must admit, my hands have been shaking. I've been, adrenaline's been going for like half an hour before I even started this stream. I'm just like, oh my god. But it's awesome to be able to hang out with you guys. 1 minute left. I will big screen this in a second, guys. We think we should have 3 turns each. I know some pretty bad dad jokes, dude. some pretty bad ones. Oh man, guys, I cannot wait for CyberPunk. 30 seconds. Alright, guys, I'm grateful. With 20 seconds left, we're gonna big screen this. Oh man, I can't accept. I cannot wait. For me, this is like one of the most anticipated games in the world. I got some costumes. Oh, this should be good. I'll have to get my Neon Reaper costume out sometimes. 3, 2, 1. Let's go, guys. Oh no! Don't keep me hanging like this. Yeah, CyberPunk 2077.
Welcome, my name is Holly and I'm the UK Head of Communication here at CD Projekt Red.
Hello, Holly.
And I will be your host for today as we take a deep dive into CyberPunk 2077. We're going to be showing you a video with new gameplay and new gameplay mechanics, and afterwards I'll be joined by 3 of our developers, Miles, Philip and Pavel, as we take a closer look at some of the things you're going to see and hopefully answer some of your questions. On behalf of everybody at CD Projekt Red, we're incredibly excited to share this new look at CyberPunk 2077 with you.
Woo! Kinky bugger.
AV.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
It looks like we're female V. Femme V.
Okay. What now?
Oh man, I'm getting cold just watching this.
Johnny?
Oh no, just cut out just as we're about to show net running. Oh, wow. Wow. Look at those effects.
Where are we?
Our BBS, Data Fortress. Bridge to the deep net.
Oh, wow. This game just looks absolutely
Beyond
stunning.
there are no borders. Beyond the black wall.
Welcome to the CyberPunk 2077 2019 deep dive video.
Hells
In
yeah!
last year's gameplay reveal, we showed you our vision for the world of CyberPunk 2077, its quests, and visual design. This year, we'd like to give you a peek at some of the playstyles you'll be able to adopt as your character progresses through the story.
Here goes nothing.
You're about to see sequences embodying two distinct approaches to playing Cyberpunk. We'll show you a strong solo build, that is, a character who focuses on employing blunt force and taking instant action. And a netrunner build, a playstyle taking frequent advantage of stealth tactics, hacking, and battlefield control achieved using malicious software.
Oh, yes.
Additionally, you'll learn more about Pacifica, one of the game's districts, two gangs, the Animals,
Oh, that music.
and you'll see glimpses of Johnny Silverhand, the digital construct who haunts our main character, V. A word of caution. Given that the video covers a section of the game deep into the main storyline, we have edited the footage to contain as few spoilers as possible. Be aware that the gameplay as presented does reveal characters and locations you'll see while playing the game's main story arc. So watch at your own discretion.
Not a problem. Just give it to me. Give it to me now.
Where are we headed?
What are you guys thinking of the game so far?
In this video, you'll experience a segment of a quest from the middle of the game. We're currently in Pacifica, one of Night City's 6 unique districts.
You know Pacifica well? Nah. You guys aren't exactly great at rolling out the welcome mat for outsiders.
It was designed to be a tourist hotspot within the city. As you can see, this didn't pan out. When uncertainty struck the global economy, investors pulled their funding, leaving most establishments unfinished. It's one of those places where expectations and reality collided, resulting in a heap of disappointment.
A heap of
Ongoing
disappointment.
gang wars plague this part of the city. Outsiders don't come here if they don't have to. Even by Night City's
Does look good so
standards,
far.
it's dangerous to those unfamiliar with it. Taking a casual stroll here would not be a good idea. A fast motorbike or armor-plated car would be the safer option. But places like this have their advantages. If you're in need of rare goods or illegal cyberware, Pacifica's bustling local markets are a good place to start your search. The Grand Imperial Mall
I
is a
can't wait to
whole other
rock
story.
one of those jackets.
It was one of the last developments in Pacifica to lose its funding. Until recently it stood vacant, but now a gang called the Animals has moved in for reasons unknown.
Something's not going right for the big guy up top.
And that's what we need to learn in order to earn the trust of the Voodoo Boys, the Animals' rivals.
What the hell?
Could fucking tell me what you plan to do first.
You take job. You do what I say. So you jack in now.
Of the many gangs in Cyberpunk 2077, the Voodoo Boys are the most
that
skilled
bass.
at using the net.
You have now seen the Blazo Agwe, our subnet.
Why? What for?
You are my vessel now. Through Agwe, I see what you see. Hear what you hear.
This mysterious gang of highly skilled netrunners has close ties to the local Haitian community.
You are V. We have been waiting.
Haitians settled in Pacifica in the 2060s after natural disasters struck their island and forced them to emigrate en masse.
What's taken me by
The
surprise
gang formed
is
around
how
this same time, though
many
at a smaller
NPCs
scale.
there seem to be.
Now the gang effectively rules Pacifica.
Oh, look at that. Yes.
The Voodoo Boys don't usually work without
course.
soldiers. Lucky for us, it seems they're prepared to make an exception this time.
Mr. Hand sent me. He said you got merc work needs doing.
Still, to earn their trust, we need to prove our worth. Placide, one of the Voodoo Boys' higher-ups, has offered us a mission. We need to infiltrate the Grand Imperial Mall, currently occupied by the Voodoo Boys' deadly enemy, a gang called the Animals.
20:35:07. 3 seconds before, poof, the camionette. We try to learn where the camionette come from.
The Animals are not your normal gang. Their presence in
Oh,
Pacifica
I just
is
love
suspicious.
that music,
They
dude.
value might above all else and wear melee combat implants to raise their prowess in combat. Their beverage of choice is juice, a potent strength and speed-enhancing concoction. As sought-after bouncers, they're usually dispersed throughout town. As skilled street-level business types, they've cornered the market in illegal substances and underground live-or-die prize fights. When they converge in one spot, it's for something big. It's then they appoint the fastest and strongest among them as their ad hoc leader. In this case, it's a woman named Sasquatch.
You wanted my bag? No. As far as I remember, you said no bone brain buffaloes on steroids. I'm afraid that's the cost of doing biz.
This is the tech Placide was talking about. It seems non-standard for the Animals. And this is where we come in. Getting to the van won't be easy, but we're more than qualified for the job, which we can complete in one of many ways.
Hells yeah.
The character creation in Cyberpunk 2077 is the kind you'd expect from a full-fledged RPG. You start by choosing your past.
Who's being
because
what?
This unlocks special options at
definitely going
important
Street Kid.
story junctures. You also fully customize your character using a deep customization system that spans not only your look and style, but also your abilities.
Can't wait to get my hands on that.
2077 does not feature fixed classes. Instead, it has a fluid class system that allows players to mix and match a wide range of abilities to suit their playstyles. You can create a strong solo character, a skilled netrunner, or any other hybrid class you can imagine. Let's see how a solo play style in Cyberpunk 2077 might work. Solos prefer a direct approach. They use guns and might to get things done.
Yeah.
So let's wreak some havoc. With our enhanced strength, we can strip this turret of its weapons and give the Animals a taste of their own medicine.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
This is how a player investing in solo abilities might live out their Terminator power fantasy. Enhanced strength lets us force
be back.
open doors. Or grab enemies to use as human shields. We also gain access to powerful melee combat cyberware.
Ooh.
So even someone as fast and strong as Sasquatch, the leader of this group of animals, is not impossible to beat for a solo.
Oh, damn.
But Sasquatch has a different game plan. She's out to jack in and hack us. Let's see how this plays out.
Ready for some fun? Proceed. What's going on?
Oh. Hell yes.
It's our choice if we want to finish her off or spare her. Your Cyberpunk, your rules.
Oh yes. Ooh. Ooh.
If you'd
Cold.
rather sneak around, hide,
Cold.
and strike from the shadows, no problem. Just develop your net running skills to get around obstacles or hack into enemy tech to have it do the dirty work for you.
Oh no. Oh.
Net running abilities mean hacking skills that let us use our cyber deck to breach access points. For this, we fill the buffer of our cyber deck with a string of instructions represented by these letters and numbers. Matching the instructions for basic access grants us control of devices connected to this network. The more instructions we match, the more control we gain over elements in the network. We can hack our way through in numerous ways. A quick hack may grant us control of the security camera. Another one should let us tweak the difficulty of the training bot to create a distraction.
Ooh!
With our nanowire, we can even hack this guy's implants from a distance.
I want that nanowire, it looks so cool.
In this world, almost everything is connected to a local network. And that means it can be hacked.
Ours is a wolf.
Which brings us back to cyberspace.
Ah, nice.
You don't get to do anything in the net unnoticed. There's always someone watching. It could be corpos, or even worse, it could be Netwatch. And that is exactly the case here.
Who is they?
Netwatch. They always out to fuck us.
Netwatch and the Voodoo Boys are like fire and ice. The first of these wants to maintain the old order and protect people from AI anarchy originating from beyond the Black Wall. The Voodoo Boys want to establish contact with the free AIs. They believe this will enable their boundless expansion on the net and grant them the upper hand over Netwatch. Netwatch sees this as the end of the world. Both are right.
No.
Hey.
How you deal with the Netwatch agent is entirely up to you. Do we side with the gang? Choosing to be on Netwatch's bad side is never wise. But can we really trust the Voodoo Boys?
You set me up!
As you can see, we have many possible options. But in each case, we take a risk.
Think I'll just stick to my plan.
Oh, wow.
That didn't work out well. In the world of cyberpunk,
No, it did not.
things go as planned. And that was just a glimpse of how complex the branching storyline in Cyberpunk 2077 can get. Every decision you make will have consequences. Your choices will shape how the world reacts to you and affect your relationships with those around you. One of those relationships is special. Ever heard of Johnny Silverhand? A rebel rocker boy who will be your companion throughout your adventure in Night City?
Come on, really think they give a rat's dick how you look?
Like everyone in Cyberpunk 2077, he has his own agenda. You'll decide if he'll be your ally or your enemy. And that chip in your head, the one thanks to which Johnny lives inside your mind. Well, that's a story for another time.
Chip in it! Chip in it! Can you tell I'm looking forward to this game, guys? Can you tell I am looking forward to this game?
Welcome back. Now, following the deep dive, there is an awful lot to talk about. So I found 3 of the very best. Oh, you're so happy. But I think just in case people aren't super familiar with Cyberpunk 2077, why don't you introduce yourself one by one so everybody knows who they're listening to?
Hey, I'm Miles. I'm one of the level designers at CD Projekt Red.
Hello, I'm Pavel, and I'm a lead of the Quest team, and it's a great pleasure to be talking to you.
Aww.
So I'm Philip, and I'm one of their Quest designers, so I work really closely with Pavel over here.
Oh, thank you guys for being my my participants in this video. Let's get started, because the last demo we saw took place in Watson. This time we're in Pacifica. They're very different, and that's super important for Night City, that it feels different. So what do you need to consider as a level designer when you're building a place like this?
Right, we are diving right into it.
Let's go. People want to know answers.
Okay, I'm going. So, from a level design point of view, for us it's really important to create these districts, the 6 ones that we have in Night City, to be as different as possible without making it unbelievable, right? And we sort of orient ourselves around sort of how we approached, let's say, Skellige and Novigrad No Man's Land in The Witcher 3.
That's
so
good.
We're sort of aiming for a very noticeable difference. And this has multiple purposes, right? First off, we want to enhance the variety in the game, right? It would be kind of boring just to have a lot of the same throughout the entire city. We have one cityscape, so we need to create this kind of variety, and that's actually a really fun creative process as well. And secondly, we need it as a navigational tool. That means that when you as a player move around the city, you should know where you are simply by looking around. And thankfully, there's a lot of lore that we can sort of dissect and make our own that helps us around, but we also add our own sort of twists to the whole thing, right? So in terms of Pacifica, we know that it's pretty fucked up place, if I can say so. And what I mean with that is that
look at that view.
It's pretty noticeable that it's almost post-apocalyptic, right?
This is just chop, it's blowing the hell out of something there in the background.
Basically fall into
No one's
disarray
noticing.
after it was initially meant to become the city's crown jewel of tourism. But clearly, as you can see from the footage, that actually didn't quite work out that way. And now you'll actually see things like burning cars on the streets, right? And it's very deserted, so much unlike Watson that we showed last year, where the streets are bustling with people, here there's way less, because it's simply a very dangerous place that you don't want to really go if you don't have to. And again, that's one of these things that once you enter the district from the rest of Night City, you'll actually notice that, right? And of course, all the destruction going on and all of the, suffering and pain.
Our favourite
and
thing.
Violence, as it were.
So what kind of things are exclusive to Pacifica? Because you don't want people to just come for the quest and then leave and that's it. You want people to keep coming back to this district. So what can people find there?
This is what I meant when I said it's a very fun process to think of these kind of things, because these sort of characteristics that we give the district directly sort of birth the things that you can find there, right? And amongst the destruction, you'll still find people living there, right? Pacifica is inhabited by a large Haitian community, and each district sort of has a kind of dominant gang who has taken over there. In the case of Pacifica, that would be the Voodoo Boys. And unlike the Maelstromers that we saw last year, the Voodoo Boys are actually deeply ingrained within the community that lives there. And they actually, they're not your typical sort of street gang in the sense that they don't really bring a lot of gunpowder to fight themselves, but they actually specialize in cyberspace. They're obsessed with the mysteries of cyberspace. They've sort of almost made it their own religion, if you will. And they have the reputation of being the best netrunners that you can find in Night City.
Yeah.
And it's a very cool gang that V, of course, our main protagonist, will interact with in several ways. How? You will have to find out. And
no!
I mean, that's just one of many, many different ways you'll really experience.
They're telling us things, but they're not really telling us
all
things.
All these things together, the culture, the visuals, the architecture, and the history really will be very distinct to the district. At the same time, we're of course trying really hard to not make it feel disconnected, right? There's always a link. It should always be believable. That's one of the sort of core pillars that we build everything on.
I love that his answers are
make it for a very
proper,
unique experience when you delve into
tell the love and the passion for this. Miss
Maya,
Maya, sorry to ask this here, but are you joining us on DBD later? Yes, I will be as soon as I am finished with my Cyberpunk 2077 live reaction. Miss Maya, then I will be playing Dead by Daylight. You are very, very correct.
place there, it always tells the story of the community, of the people, of the characters that are living there. And the Haitian community, right, they arrived actually in Night City because of the environmental changes that were happening in the world. Haiti is actually completely flooded, and they have left it. They arrived to Night City to build the district that Miles just talked about, and they were left out at the moment when the corporations withdrawn all the funding from the Pacifica. They were left there, and they built their own community there, and they gave the seed. They become the seed for.
I can't wait to pick up that statue as well. I've just noticed it on the table. Man, I've pre-ordered the CyberPunk 2077 Collector's Edition, and I can't wait to be able to show that little baby off.
Perfect, but let's talk about the mall we just saw in the deep dive video, because that's not linear.
No.
So how do you design a non-linear level? You've got the building, you're thinking, right,
okay,
well,
not a problem, man.
Playing on their game,
Thank you for jumping in, sweetie.
They might have a more techie style of playthrough, but this person might want to go in all guns blazing. How do you design levels for all these different playstyles? Anything's possible.
Yes, yeah, we do give the player a lot of different tools to use as he goes through a level, and that makes designing these things quite complex, I must say. But you know, just to sort of understand our mentality,
if anybody can do it, they can.
I'll attempt, maybe you'll help me out with this one, to go back in our development. Well, sometime, and to really sort of, we came up with this example to sort of establish this kind of mentality that we wanted to have when we approached our level designs and the way we do our encounters, right? And the example was rather simple. The goal was for a player to to go from one room to another, but the main way to go from that one room to another would be sort of like a door. And be it through like a scanner or a device, it doesn't really matter for the example. Actually, going through this door would ultimately result in the player losing his weapons, but the task was to actually kill a person on the other side of that door, right? Now, we use this sort of example to sit down and think, okay, how will we do this in all these kind of different
Apparently Paul wants us
right?
to stream it, so that'll be interesting.
You know, one way would be
yes, it will be. It will be. Like I said, as soon as I am finished with this, I'll be live on Twitch, guys, playing some Dead by Daylight with Miss Maya. So if you want to come and check that out,
like a social
come and check me out on Twitch, guys, at NeonReaperGaming.
Take the guy out. Take, I don't know, like a pass.
Alexander! I'm looking forward to this game, and I still know virtually nothing about it. I know, man.
Maybe if you are invested as a melee character, it actually doesn't really matter to you. You just
they keep telling us little things, but
the guy on the other hand,
at the same time, not giving too much away.
Pile of blood.
But I love it though.
Or maybe as a kind of hacker type of character, you try to find a way
to
reach the network to disable
Hi, my friend. How are you
device,
doing?
Right, the scanner
and welcome to NeonReaperGaming channel.
Usage, allowing you to move through and
where our love of CyberPunk 2077 shines through.
Maybe as a kind of fast solo kind of character, you'd be able to jump out of the window onto windows.
So it's nice that we get a little glimpse of the hacking mechanics.
And then enter through the window there. And the list goes on and on with examples that we try to come up for this kind of door. And it's sort of, again, it's just to showcase how we sort of think about these levels, right? As you know,
what's everybody most excited for this game?
To solve, and we give it a lot of
why is everybody
possibilities
hyped
to solve this issue or bypass it.
What have you seen so far that's grabbed your
interest? That is how we're hoping to really create an experience for the player that they feel inherently is their own, right? They came
I will be streaming Dead by Daylight on Twitch.
Gave them.
It's Friday night tonight, so I usually stream Dead by Daylight with 3 friends, and we usually always stream Dead by Daylight on a Friday night.
You know, as an example, on the Wild Hunt, we were already working with very non-linear stories, but now we also have this non-linear gameplay approach, and for us, it was always really important to have these choices and consequences, and we did them in the story. You know, anything should matter somehow, but now we can also say, okay, players have all of these different choices to solve a situation, so of course there should also sometimes be some consequences, and not just on the gameplay side how you solve it, but of course, you know, the story should react to it. Do I just run into this room and kill a few guys, or do I, you know, choose a super different approach? Sometimes this can now open up a completely new way to go through a quest. So, you know, it actually, I think it added to this whole layer of non-linearity. It added quite a few, let's say, more things we have to do, but the thing is, it is a challenge for us, but it's actually a really fun challenge. It's actually really cool to come up with all these ideas. And the thing is also our quests are iterated upon a lot. So as an example, quest designers, of course, we play them ourselves. Pavel as our lead plays them.
This has got every potential in the world to blow the likes of Deus Ex out
a lot. And our QA team has really, really good ideas. So, they
really
always think,
it's going to be one of those things as well, as a first-person shooter, you're going to find it very hard to walk into a room and not try to blast everything to smithereens. Can you put your Twitch URL in the video description for this? Make it easier for people to get that from here. Yeah, sure, not a problem, man.
Find interesting consequences, what to happen afterwards.
I shall do that.
And that, I think, sort of ties up with a whole philosophy of a game, which is the freedom. And we have the freedom on the story layer, and maybe I don't want to talk about it too much and not to spoil it, but but it ties up with the gameplay very well, with like the way how the levels are constructed and with branching gameplay, as Philip just explained, because player has freedom playing the game. You build your character the way you want, and you play the way you want. And you want the player to feel this choice,
It's down in the video description, and I posted it in the chat as well for you guys.
He or she is picking, and all that, and it all comes together as like, fulfilling this ultimate like cyberpunk fantasy.
So in the demo, we obviously saw the bike. There was a little mention of the heavy armored
Thank you for the follow, man.
But can you tell us a little bit more about the kinds of vehicles that will be in Cyberpunk 2077?
I can tell you a little bit about it. So there's of course
many Twitch coming through
because we want to create a real open city, a city that makes sense in the year 2077. So there will be all kinds of vehicles, and of course there's also society is very different. So we also have different art styles that correspond with the different parts of society. So we have the art style called entropy. So as an example, you might see vehicles that are just very useful. They're made to just bring a person from A to B, or they're made to do a job. And of course, but the player can choose to have them as well, especially if the player might not have that much money yet. But there's also super
it's all about the moolah.
Luxury,
cheers, mate. No problem, mate. Well, cheers for the follow, man. I appreciate that.
You as a player are only limited by.
And thanks for popping into the chat as well.
Yeah. Life is like.
Like I said, this is my very first ever live stream reaction on the channel, so I appreciate everybody jumping in and
what are
chatting.
The kinds of vehicles players would want to have in a cyberpunk game? So you don't just have cars. You of
really
course
looking
also
forward to this game.
Bikes like our very own Yaiba Kusanagi here, one of my favorites. It's a very cool bike. And there's some, let's say, surprise vehicles that are still to be seen in Cyberpunk that I don't want to spoil here, but I would say something very special that's also dear to my heart.
Now I'm really intrigued.
But of course also, let's say, the super highest echelon of people in that city, they also have access to AVs, so flying cars, which is something that you as a player, you're not part of that world, but through specific story moments, you might get to, ride in them sometimes. So, we want to give you a few different experiences.
Hell yeah.
You can also, of course, you have your garage where your apartment is, so you can also have your own vehicle that you store, that you can call to yourself. So, you can't call your vehicle Roach if you want to. It's all up to you, but it will be your very own.
I wonder how many of these cars are going to be called Roach now that you've mentioned it. So Night City is massive, and that's like a point we're really trying to make. It's a huge city, and you kind of want people to explore it by foot, right? You could just walk like from point A to point B if that's what you want, or drive.
You could, but probably you would get pretty tired because it's a pretty big place, so you will have to walk a lot. So the thing is, we do not have loading screens while exploring the city. It's a completely seamless place.
Yes.
You can go, wherever you want. And of course, Night City is a very dense place, so there's lots to see on your way. But the thing is also, as with all things, we want to give players a choice. So of course, there's the option to fast
Just
travel.
look at that, even
but
just
the thing is
walking
actually
around,
the way we're
just
designing the
walks.
city, we actually kind of feel like, even when we're playing it ourselves, that fast travel is often just. When I play the game, I don't want to fast travel. I want to explore the city because we actually try to give you so many interesting things, so many places that tell a story that look interesting, where you have something to do, where you can interact with things that just something new for you at every corner. So I personally don't fast travel a lot. I just drive my bike and I put on some nice music and I have a good time. But of course, it's possible. And the thing is also, we actually have proper city planners working here that actually are planning out Night City and how the traffic would work in that city. And
that is the love, man. That is the love and attention to detail.
Organically,
actual city planners building a video game city is amazing.
So it's actually really interesting.
Sounds like a mix of Deus Ex, GTA, and Fallout in a way. Just some of the things they're talking about. It totally does.
This will be very important for how people actually get to explore it themselves.
To make the city feel alive.
But it's just, like I said, there's little tiny
in the Witcher,
bits of detail that they always go above and beyond.
Those question marks on the map, those
really separates.
You dreamt about them when you were at work, you just thought about them. You can't
generic
walk
open worlds.
past them. So what will we be sort of looking at for Cyberpunk? What are those things that are going to be all-consuming us, so we are probably not paying attention to the main story? We're going to be like, I've got to go do that first, and I can't go and do this until I've done that one over there. What will we be finding?
That's what I was like with The Witcher.
So in Night City, you actually really want to tie it into the world. So as an example, most districts have a so-called fixer. Like you might know from our gameplay demo from a year ago, there's Dexter Deshawn. And people like this, they can give you jobs that also fit the specific district you're in. So if when you enter a district and you're kind of known as a mercenary who's doing certain things for money, fixers might contact you and they have some jobs for you. And then these jobs, as an example, they can be street stories. And they show up on your map and you get an icon so okay, this is this kind of street story. And we always want to put some interesting story to them, because after Wild Hunt, we actually founded a completely new team, the Open World team, which is actually creating some amazing content to actually fill this world with things that are meaningful.
That's what I like to
we
hear.
actually want to make this that you can do many also smaller things around the city, but they're actually all cool and unique in their own way. And one cool thing is also, of course, they appear on your map, but the map in the game is actually properly immersive. It's that really, really cool looking point cloud version of Night City. And you can see the tasks from your fixer there. But the cool thing is actually, because you're a character in Cyberpunk, you're V, and you actually have
all those red
information,
dots are
so it's
things
not just
you
the
could
player
do.
Seeing them, it's actually
Or is
your
that people?
character seeing them as well, because it's all part of the world. So we want to give you this full immersion.
It looks like people.
Yeah, it's actually really cool for us that with the street stories and all the other content, we're essentially sort of giving him like almost our Witcher 3 side quest treatment, in the sense that even simple tasks can be fun and exciting if we pack them up in a cool story and root them within the world, right? We can use these street stories to expand further on how life in Night City and the world of Cyberpunk in general works. And sometimes this might even be a better
I cannot wait to play this
story itself, right? Where just like, hey, let's see
I
how
don't wanna
everyday
wait
life works in this kind of aspect, from this perspective.
Can't do it.
Scenario. And actually, that's again, like for us, that's a lot of fun. And it's a very exciting process, and I hope that
just watch my YouTube channel go down the
that they will actually
pan
find
once this game releases, because I'll have no life.
They always kind of have this impression like, hey, wow, no matter where I go, things are actually worked out, right? It's never just a simple sort of task of, hey, do things, but there's always a reason, there's always an understanding of why you're doing things. And even in those few scenarios where it might seem a bit more, oblivious, you'll usually find that, there's more to it that meets the eye.
Yeah, and one interesting thing about those street stories is also that, our main story is, of course, your own personal journey through Night City, but the street stories are actually, because, you play a mercenary who's trying to carve their way through the city. This is actually your job. So this is actually the role you now inhabit in the city. So actually you're part of that system through these street stories and through working with fixers. So it's actually this whole different way of playing, the game and feeling immersed in the city.
Can't wait to lose my life to them.
Say it, that's what I just said.
Dive,
I'm gonna totally lose my life.
The character has 3 sort of origins that we can pick. I mean, what are they, and how do they actually affect the gameplay?
Oh, okay.
You're like, yes, let's go.
Okay, I'll go into my 50-minute answer. Okay, so, we actually call them life paths. Those are the origin stories that player can pick, and it's actually 3 of them. So you can be a street kid, you can be a nomad, or you can be a corporal. Now, each of them actually defines the beginning of the story for the player. So you start in a completely different way than other life paths, and you are slowly introduced into that story. You know a different people, you're in a completely different place in life, you're in a different place in Night City, and your story slowly, you get involved into that whole thing with Chip and Johnny Silverhand, and eventually, you're a lander. But you actually start off being a completely different person. Now, what is important with that is we actually take that through the whole game. And you as a player, you can actually associate yourself with like nomads, you can associate yourself with corporate people, or you can be a part of the streets. And it's really up to you, you know, what path you want to pick through the main story, and we did our best in the quest team to like support.
I'll definitely be playing this again and go through,
I would say, main
all
ways
3
to
paths
go through the story. And of course, player can like mix and match anytime, you know, any way he really wants, or she really wants. But it's something that we take from the very beginning till the very end. And what's important there is when you're in the scenes with the characters, so when you're discussing things, you can actually use those things. So if you're a corpo and you know how the corporations work, you know what are their normal methods, you know what's the deal with them, you actually can use this knowledge and sometimes get something more. You can actually unlock side branches in the dialogues, and you can unlock side branches in the whole quest sometimes. And this is a bit exciting, I would say. It's something like the way how we to make sure that the player can role play their character, you know, to become that person. And in the demo that we have shown in the recording, you can see, you know, this moment when you choose, you know, that character that you are becoming later. And the characters that you are meeting in the main story, they are also representing those different groups, you know. So in the first demo a year ago, we have shown Meredith Stout, you know, a person, you know, she is a high-class corporate
Johnny's
woman
freaking everywhere, man.
She has a lot of power, also a lot of responsibility, and you are on her way. And you can see, you know, how that interaction looks like. So if when you're from corporation, maybe there's something you can do a bit more with her, you know, and that goes also for others, you know, for nomads and for street kids.
One of the nice things is actually also that, you know, you're not bound to stick, let's say, with the corporates or with the streets. So as an example, I can give an example. I start as a street kid the game, and I know I have my knowledge, but then I play through the story and I notice like, oh, I kind of like these corporate characters. I like that life. So, you know, I can just, you know, betray the streets and snuggle up with the corporates. But, you know, this is kind of the role-playing freedom we want to give. But, you know, as always, this can also have consequences.
Sounds phenomenal.
So anyone who's played the original tabletop version of Cyberpunk is used to the idea of assigning attribute points to create a character. Now, in the deep dive video we just saw, we got a little glimpse of that screen. You could see the points and the different things. So help me understand how that works and how you gain those points.
So as a player, you build your character at the beginning, assigning those attribute points, and they define like the core characteristics of your character. So how
lots
much
of things,
body
sniper
rifles,
rifles,
you have, or how
melee,
much reflexes you have, or how
quite
cool you are. You know, that's one of the interesting stats that we have, right? But then, as you have those attributes, you also have skills. The skills define a bit more interesting proficiencies for you as a player. What you can do. And for instance, one of those skills is assassination, or the
two-handed shotguns.
And maybe I'll stick to the cold blood to explain a bit more. So
looks like
this is a skill that allows the player to survive in a really tough situation. So at the moment, you know, you get a lot of damage, then the cold blood skill kicks in thanks to your cool stat. It kicks in and gives you a boost in damage, and then as a player you can, you know, survive and so on. But then, you know, using that skill, so you sort of like use by learning, like using that skill, you can actually get better, pump up levels there, and you can get different perks. Now what's interesting there, you can actually give completely different perks to the skill that you have. And here I think I could use the example of the athletics attribute. So the athletics is a way for us to move dead bodies. So as a player, you can basically pick up the dead body that you have just basically killed, pick it up and like stuff it into the fridge or in a trash bin. Now as a player, you normally will slow down when you're moving around with the bodies. But if you have added special perks to your athletic skill, you can now run with the dead body. So because you're more athletic, you can do that. And those are like 3 levels of complexity in our character, in building the character we have. You have the attributes, you have the skills, and then you assign perks to it. And those 3 come together to allow you to create your own amazing character that you want to play at.
A lot of people think this is maybe how cool you look, and it's all about the jacket you're wearing, but the cool stat is not style-based, is it?
Well, you know, this is Cyberpunk, so being cool is of course very important. But the actual cool stat really means how cool you are under pressure, how much you have control over your body. So, you know, are there people shooting at me and I'm holding my gun like that? Probably not very cool. So this is, this is the kind of thing that cool actually controls. But of course, if you want to play a character that's actually cool, you have your choices, right? You can wear your nice leather jacket. And of course, like in real life, also depends on how you talk to people. And that's of course also the choice of you as a player.
He just might freak out under gunfire.
Yeah.
Like, cool on the surface, but not so much when push comes to shove.
Happens sometimes.
So in the deep dive, we saw a quick clip of the inventory screen. It looks like a proper old school RPG screen, with the little blocks of the system. And I know the community wants to hear more about what they can expect. So tell us more, Miles.
Oh, I will. Now, of course, like how I always say is,
how will you guys play? Will you go in like
of course, where we
brute strength,
items, right? But
hacking?
Importantly, in Cyberpunk, it's where we also manage our
or
stuff.
like
just,
the corpo side of it.
Touched on. Like it's really important for us to be able, for you to be able to realize your character.
At what time? At what time, Jimmy?
Character creation, but also the way you dress your character, right?
For
we're pretty much aware that there's
3:38. In what time zone, dude?
There's this common sort of disconnect between the stats on an item and the looks. While we can go into details here, let's just say we're aware of this sort of, conflict, I guess, of interest sometimes. So we're looking into how you would be able to make your character still look cool despite having the best stats of an item, right? Just goes to show that that is really important to us. And of course, the whole role-playing aspect goes even further because we'll have some customization options.
I love
for
the
the way you
CyberPunk
look
shirts.
like, but also your guns, right? And the inventory will of course
Think
decide
a
what
nice
kind of weaponry
CyberPunk
it is that your character
top right there along there would look quite nice,
or
guys.
sneak into different bases.
CG Project Red, if you're watching this.
Of course, is also where we mention cyberware, and all of these little things brought together. Again, they've sort of allow you to fulfill your sort of what do you call it? Character fantasy. That's the word I was looking for.
In the inventory, yes, we're changing our clothes, we want to look super cool, but what about cyberware? Can we do anything with cyberware from the inventory screen?
Oh, yes. So imagine inventory screen, right? So if you see the player there, you have a slot.
Cool
so normally in, like, let's say fantasy game, you would equip a armor, right? Or you would equip, I don't know, a leg piece.
It would be cool
like,
to change like the way our cybernetics look.
Replace that with a cyberware, right? So you can get your legs replaced to your cyber legs, right? And those can give you different skills, like let's say double jump. But then, as a player, you can upgrade actually those and let's say enhance them in a way that they give you something special to it. So for instance, you can actually make them jump in a way that they do not emit that much sound, and they become like a really stealth tool. So because of that, you can traverse in a quiet way through the locations. So this is how you actually upgrade your character. You just go over your body and replace whatever you need. And in the lore, there are Reaper dogs who help you out with that when you have to install those core pieces of cyberware, like for instance the Raven control system that allows you to control the flathead. But there are also other pieces that you can do on your own. And on top of that, as a player, you can also find pieces, small pieces called shards. And those, if you slot into your slot, you can actually, they give you a power of a given cyberware so you can try it out. So as a player, you can experiment a bit, and see how it would be if I would have installed, some special piece of cyberware in my body. And that allows the player to, to see stuff, to figure it out, to build their character the way they want.
Okay, so we know we can equip some of our cybernetic enhancements in the inventory, but like, where do we get them? Like, how do we get more enhancements?
All right, there's actually multiple ways of going about that, right? The most obvious one is going to a so-called Reaper dock and getting new cyberware built in you, or enhancing the cyberware that you have. Some of it you will actually get through as you adventure through Night City.
It'll be interesting to see how much of this is changed since the E3 demo quite a while ago.
Because it's sort of like a core gameplay mechanic to be able to scan things and get additional information on certain circumstances. And of course, then we also have something we call the street cred system, right? So as you progress throughout the game, you will also unlock more street cred through your actions, and that
those should be fine, Jimmy.
Content in the game. That means, you know,
depends what time it is, obviously in
will
America
open
for
up
you,
to
because I might be
services will open up. People
5 hours
will
ahead of you.
have heard of you and are more willing to work with you.
If
so
you're on
there's
the
multiple ways
Florida
this
side of the
affects
States.
experience, and yeah, one of them being, you know, like the cyberware that you have access to.
Cool. So Netrunner was featured pretty heavily in the deep dive, but can you give us a little bit more insight into some of the combat skills or abilities that come with the idea of building a Netrunner class?
Yeah, so I think using netrunning skills gives you lots of, let's say, opportunities to be very creative in how you play the game. So I can just give a few examples. So we have access points, and access points are, you know, in the world of cyberpunk, they can control all the different devices in the area, which of course as a netrunner is pretty useful, because you can hack that access point, and if you successfully do that, you can now use quick hacks. So you can actually from a distance take over different devices, like as an example a camera. You can do many different things with it. Look through the camera and have a completely different view, or just, you know, turn it off if it's in your way. And of course, you know, you can take over a turret and make it fight for you, or you can do many different things. You know, we also try to come up with nice custom things. So, you know, depending on where you are, let's say if you're in a gym where there's some nice boxing,
I'll be free here for
course,
you.
you know,
and
maybe you can do
no
some
problem, mate.
fun
No problem.
things with
That
it.
sounds
I think
fun.
as a netrunner, it's always lots of fun.
I'll give you another call on Discord.
As an example,
we'll
if
talk
I
about
would
it before we
use
do
lots
it.
of netrunning skills, it's also really useful to use lots of
still surprises me every
skills
time I see
make
that.
you really good
Wow.
at stealth, so I mean really under control. So netrunner can be really good at, you know, also using distractions, like if there's a vending machine, just make it spit out some drinks, and then of course, you know, some people might look after that. But the thing is, a netrunner isn't, you know, just a stealth character. There's also cool, aggressive netrunning abilities, because, you know, we always want to give you the choice of how to play. So we have your nanowire cyberware, which is really good at hacking enemies from a distance and then actually taking over their
I can't
cyberware.
wait to use this.
So, you know, most people in this world have cyberware in their body, so just like access points.
That is
Very good
wicked.
for netrunners. So you can then control that cyberware and also do some nice things, like, you know, as an example, hack someone's cyberware in their hand and make them do some things they might not want to have happen. But the thing is also, a nanowire, of course, it's a wire, it's nano, it's very, you know, sharp, so you can also use it as a weapon or as a whip, and, you know, the netrunner can be very effective at using his skills in combat as well. So it's all just, you know, your choice as a player.
What about, let's say, because this all sounds amazing, but let's say you want to do slightly non-lethal. Because in the deep dive we did saw with Sasquatch at the end, there was an option. You know, do you want to put her out of misery, or do you want to let her live? So how do people play it, like a non-lethal playthrough? Can, you know,
that would
can
be
you
interesting.
build a class to help you do that?
I wonder if there's like a trophy for
So
that.
that's basically a choice we made. We really said, okay, cyberpunk, it is a very violent world, but you're role-playing your character. You can choose to play the whole game without killing a single person. And of course, you know, we're always saying this should also have an effect on the story. So certain characters, you know, in a quest might ask you, you know, yeah, please do this thing for me, but, you know, don't make too much trouble. And of course, you know, you don't get a game over if you do a thing that the character doesn't wanna. So, but the story will react to it. And we want to give you that choice, but of course, you know, not only the netrunner is able to do a non-lethal playthrough. Every player, however you want to skill your character, you're able to do it somehow. But of course, it also depends, you know, where you are. Let's say if you're in some rundown ruin that doesn't have lots of netrunning abilities, of course, a netrunner still has ways to do it, but, you know, he might not be able to use all of his netrunning skills. But another player who has skilled different ways now has a different experience. But, you know, it can happen vice versa. But what we always want to say, you can finish the whole game, you can finish the quests without killing a single person. Sometimes you just have to also, you know, think about it. Because the thing is, Night City isn't a very peaceful place. So you can never play like a full pacifist who is never engaging in any kind of combat, because, you know, people will attack you sometimes, but you can choose to, you know, not kill them, because, you know, like in real life, sometimes if there's attacks, you don't immediately kill everyone. You can solve situations in different ways.
Yeah, all right. One thing I'd actually like to add to that is that we're trying really hard to not actually punish players for the playstyle they chose to do, right? Whether it is that you're playing a lethal or non-lethal, or you know, like a more aggressive versus a more subtle kind of approach.
Well, guys,
while NPCs,
what kind of playstyle would you do? Are you going to go in quiet? Are you just going to go in, kick the doors down, guns
they will never
blazing?
outright punish you for not, you know, sort of doing their wishes. because we really want to give players as much freedom as possible, and you know, punishing the players for certain actions like that, which is basically them choosing to play their character, would directly contradict this kind of idea that we're trying to set up in terms of role-playing fantasy.
There's nothing worse than like accidentally slipping on the trigger. You're like, I didn't mean to kill him, and then everything changes. Yeah.
And as an example, you can also see a Sasquatch that we show in our demo. It's a really intense fight, but actually, if you choose, you can subvert that fight. You can maybe just, you know, sneak around her and find a different solution. And then maybe, you know, of course you can get a consequence out of that, because now Sasquatch is still alive. So, you know, the story is already different. So I think this opens up many different opportunities, not just for the gameplay, but also for us as storytellers.
But let's tell us a little bit more about the solo build, because that was another build from in the deep dive. What kind of skills does that give someone then, as opposed to Netrunner?
I think that the most typical like solo fantasies that our players have is to be a strong solo and to be fast solo. So be like
two different.
Like I would say so. But you can also build any type of hybrid you want. But the strong one is the person who can, you know, like shove people into the trash bins and so on, carry bodies, run with them. But you can also like pick up the heavy guns, you know, mounted to the turret and like use it against, you know, the opponents. Like we have shown that in the recording for a moment, you know, when V is like just, you know,
oh, Salah, how you doing, man?
Away with this very heavy
Welcome
gun.
to the CyberPunk 2077 live reaction.
Run around with everything, with it everywhere.
As you can see, we're watching some brand new gameplay of CyberPunk 2077,
right? So,
and so far, mate,
it
it looks absolutely
However,
phenomenal.
Like, as a fast solo, you have access to lots of different traversing skills. So as a means of exploration, you can, for instance, do the double jump and access places that you would not have otherwise, right? You can also, you know, like slide around with your katana, like slide around using nanowire that we have also shown. So you can be built in a completely different ways.
You looking forward to CyberPunk, Salah?
You have picked as a person.
Sounds really, really cool. I'm just going to run in, I think, and just punch everything until I get what I want. It's also like real life.
Yeah, this game is so close to real life. It's quite incredible, actually.
It literally happens every day.
So we know we've talked about Netrunner and Solo, and we've shown both of them in our deep dive, but that's not just it, right? Like, there are other builds. So, you know, maybe tell us about Techie.
Yeah, so generally
I keep forgetting about Techie.
Stuff is, we have sort of thought, we're thinking of three sort of main archetypes of how you can play the game. That would be the Netrunner playstyle, right? The solo playstyle, which, as Pavel said, sort of branches into the sort of more agile, fast solo, and the more brutish, strong solo character. And then there's the last one, which is the Techie. Again, it's just important for us to say that these are just archetypes that you know, help us think about how players might approach any kind of situation. But of course, you'll be able to create any kind of hybrid and just pick the skills that you like in between.
That's what I like the thought of the most, being able to be a bit of everything.
A more
I don't think I'll go too far into one category.
I think I like branch out. Whereas the Netrunner is the one that sort of manipulates devices that are active by hacking networks and taking over control. The Techie is actually the one that sort of dabbles with the hardware itself and cables and whatever drives machinery, all that stuff. And to add on top of that, we're actually layering our little buddy called Flathead, and he is what we call a spider bot, a kind of very sophisticated piece of military hardware that the player will be able to use when he chooses to you know, invest into the Techie playstyle. And Flathead is an interesting one because he's a pretty, like, basically like this autonomous robot that listens to your commands, and you can basically send out Flathead to do certain things for you, right? You might be able to send him out to manipulate certain devices, right? There might be, I don't know, let's come up with an example here. There is some sort of like broken lamp or something, or like a broken gadget. You can see it with your scanner, right? And you might actually send Flathead to do a little bit of tweakage there to make that object fall down onto an enemy, right? Or other examples would be to use Flathead to, you know, directly engage with enemies. There's a certain customization.
Sweet, so we can send the spider bot out to kill people.
To a buddy robot, and I
Guess what
hope
I'll be
actually
doing.
players will get like oddly attached to their little robot buddy, right? And again, this is like a whole sort of layer, another layer of how you might play the game. And as I said earlier,
Definitely gonna get attached to my spider buddy.
It is like one of the
Definitely gonna get
possible-
attached to
many
my spider
possible
buddy.
ways of how to play the game, and we're trying to add as many tools as we can for all three of these archetypes to really sort of be able to manipulate the game world and feel like, yeah, this world, you know, if I look around,
I'm
I
still
see
waiting for this,
opportunities
for them
that
to
suit
drop
me. You know, you're
something.
maybe
I got a feeling now we're going to see something at the end.
Character, right? We have our scanner. You look around, see opportunities, and you seize them. And how you seize them and what opportunities arise for it really just depends on what kind of character you're playing and what skills you have invested in.
Okay, so we all stand Flathead. We know that Flathead is everything. But also, let's talk about
Flathead.
Let's talk about
Spider-Bot. I'm going to call mine
what can we
Spider-Bot.
expect? We saw a
Spider-Bot.
few. We saw the
Spider-Bot.
Militech turret being ripped out used as a machine gun. We saw the nanowires, but tell us a little bit more.
So our guns are divided into three like main categories, right? There are smart guns that we have shown in a previous demo like a year ago. So basically they shoot
wonder if they were like
homing
plasma
bullets that
guns,
follow
things
the
like that.
target. There are also tech weapons, and the tech weapons are those that have like additional capabilities to them that they for instance can pierce covers. And there are also power weapons, and power weapons are mainly focused on being a street grid weapons. So they basically have additional skills and capabilities connected to the fact they're reworked in some way. So for instance, those are like bursting shotguns and things like that.
Ooh.
And we have put plenty of work to making sure that the weapons feel well and they have their weight. And there's lots of really cool examples that I can give here. For instance, you know, there is a handgun that as you use it, it actually speeds up the bullets slowly, and longer you use it, faster the bullets become, so they can do more things and they can do more damage. There is, for instance, like a class of the weapons.
That's something I've not heard
that has been created by a Russian company to fight cyborgs. And that weapon is able to heat up the bullet to the point that the bullet becomes almost like a melted plastic, and is done, for instance, so it can shoot off, you know, cyborgs' arms and so on. So there's always like a small piece of story, you know, wrapped up around the weapon, you know, what that weapon does.
Even the weapons have got stories, Jesus Christ, guys think of everything.
You can also use like a second firing mode for a weapon, and not all weapons have them. But some of them, if you use them in a specific way, let's say a tech rifle that we have shown in a previous demo, when you use it in a specific way, it changes its way, it like collapses together, and then it allows you to pierce up the covers and shoot through the walls and shoot the enemies like that. Or you can bounce bullets off the walls, right?
Serrano! Hey buddy, how you doing? Welcome to our
put enough depth
2077 Cyberpunk live reaction, man. Welcome to stream. You look forward to Cyberpunk?
It has like actually our I think that players will love our game.
We're on 5 viewers, by the way, guys, right now. Thank you so much, guys, for taking the time to be here.
I'm so excited.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Shotguns, they're my favorite. 8 barrels, even better.
I'm hoping we'll see something
really
nice
cool
drop at
to
the
add
end
to
of this
this
dev
is
talk.
that, you know, as you already touched on it, like all of these companies, these gun manufacturers,
Wavering!
they actually, a lot of
How
it
you
comes
doing,
from the
bro?
actual
Bro, I
war,
just
right?
woke up like
We're
3
also
minutes
making
ago
sure that
to a dude
there's
placing our
really
I was sleeping in the living room and he gave me some
brands and ads
Starbucks
that
10 out of 10
we
service.
actually have a whole team dedicated
Awesome.
to just that kind of stuff.
I'd love people just to wake up and give me Starbucks.
Make sure that
You lucky ducky, you.
rooted in the world, has its reason why it is there, has its history. I think that's
Starbucks
really
in bed.
sort of
You make me
like
jealous.
the secret ingredient to make like a really believable world, that when the player actually goes in, that they have this impression like, yeah, this place exists, right? This feels alive. And I think that will make just the fact of simply walking through Night City like a really, really cool experience.
Also, actually, one of the cool things we also have is we have lots of different melee weapons. And, you know, it starts by, you know, very spontaneous ones. So let's say you find a broken bottle and you just use it, or you find a knife on the ground and you can use it to fight melee, or you can, as an example, throw it. but you can also specialize in melee weapons. Because as we said earlier, maybe you want to play as a cyber ninja, and of course, as a cyber ninja, there's many different katanas that you can actually also specialize in getting really good at them. And there's even cyber ninjas, like the gorilla fists, that can also be used to, be really strong and open doors. But if you're really strong, you can also hit people with it. But a cool thing is also using your melee weapons together with special cyberware. So as an example, my favorite cyberware that I always like to use is the Sandevistan. And essentially it slows down time for you because your reflexes get boosted. So now you have superhuman reflexes. And the way we show it is, of course, time slowing down for you as a player. So imagine you have your katana and you just go into a slide and then you can aim and like just go through, and it actually feels really cool.
That sounds
you feel
awesome.
like you have super control. But actually, you can also see, as an example in the demo, how it feels like.
Imagine that with these slow-mo.
Cyberware like that. The animals have
like Metal Gear Rising
as well. So actually,
slicing through people,
coming towards you in melee,
that sounds
around really fast.
That sounds proper cool.
Exactly, and this is how it actually feels for enemies when you have your,
not really interested in this game at all. Just stop by to drop a like. Not from Riaz, man. I really appreciate it.
You see them. What are your favourite cyberwares?
I know that Cyberpunk's not for everybody. I personally, I'm really looking forward to this game.
At least for me, I think those are gonna be Mantis Blades. I think that.
And I'm really looking forward to our League of Legends live stream as well, dude.
It looks for the player, how it feels when you use them. The way you can chop off heads and so on. It's something of a it's very poetic, I would say. Yeah, and in other cyberware, I think that I would like it's more story related. It's Mr. Stud. I will let our players to figure it out what it does for those who know the lore a bit.
For me, Philip already took it away by taking the strong arms earlier and the Sandevistan. So bit of a greedy dude over there. No, but. So I guess technically the cyber deck is
nearly at 700 subs. To be honest with you, mate, I honestly I haven't checked my my subs count in a while. I'm pretty excited for this and Dying Light 2. Oh yeah, Dying Light 2.
All kinds of enemies, right? Like in the gameplay, we show how you can only manipulate.
I wasn't going to do a gameplay reaction to that because it was 22 minutes long, but I've heard good things from it. So if people are interested in me reacting to the Dying Light 2 gameplay, then just let me know in the comments now. I'll
if you combine that with,
if people are interested in that enough,
then
I'll definitely do it.
From closer up. You can actually breach into like a squad's
I've been playing Astral Chain. The graphics are amazing. The combat is actually challenging. Not to mention the story draws you in. Astral Chain.
You can actually use what we call demon software.
One of my friends is actually playing that right now on Twitch.
That is attached to people's bodies, right?
I've heard good things about that.
Where you're a net runner kind of character. You're sneaking through, but then things get hot. Right, so now you find yourself in a combat
situation. I had a cheeky go Xenoblade 2 last night on my Switch. I haven't played my Switch in a while, and
after all, so you
I was on Xenoblade 2 for quite a while last night, so it was pretty good. Being able to just go back to it, chill out in bed.
Of course, you start.
Yes, please, no spoilers other than its gold, pure gameplay trailer.
So I can upload my
alright, cool. I'll look at doing that. Then, Wavery.
They don't necessarily want
mix it up a little bit.
Their cybernetic hand
to
I'm always a bit the pin on a grenade
wary
with
too long gameplay trailers because obviously I don't know how long people watch them for. If I did like a gameplay vid that was half an hour long and people came in and only watched it for 2 minutes of that half an hour, then obviously the YouTube algorithm would cripple the video and it cripples my channel as a result.
And it's actually really cool because you sort of see them.
So the longer the video is, the riskier it is. Being live's okay because the live ones don't really count. And when you guys are watching me live, that's watch time and views that I'm getting there. And then obviously you guys commenting and being able to talk as well.
I really like the sort of level of variety that we
that's always weird, trying to keep that in the back of my mind. It's always in the back of my mind when I react to videos.
And pardon me for being a bit buzzworthy about this, but like this will really make each playthrough very unique to players, right? Not only the way you play it, the way you
I'm definitely going to
interact
give
with
this
the world,
multiple
the way you talk
playthroughs.
to people, all
So
that
many
kind
ways.
of stuff. Like if you look at all the little choices that accumulate through the game, no playthrough will basically be
have you
like
heard about
another.
the translation
And,
scam with PewDiePie? No, I have not. Why? What's happened there, Jimmy? I mean, if you want, it is pretty chunky, and yeah, that might happen.
And I guess that would be the
I mean that's the other thing. I'll give it a go anyway.
Having your cyber deck because
I'm probably a few hours behind though. Obviously, the later I leave.
And then I think
reactions.
Before in
It's
another video of sorts that I really like our
don't
nanowires,
quite get that traction on a video.
Go hand in hand sort of with this net running.
But no, I've not heard about the PewDiePie thing, Jimmy.
Preferences lie. Don't worry, it does not affect my designs. I try to be balanced. But you know, like whereas the regular netrunner can sort of breach into a squad network by sort of taking an enemy out and having an extra option to breach into their squad's network. The nanowires actually allow you to do this from a distance or from a safe spot.
Yeah, that
right?
nanowire looks amazing.
And
I really want to be able to rock
they can
that.
also be used to slice people into bite-sized pieces. So again, as Philip said much earlier, if I remember correctly, we've been doing this for a bit. There's actually, you know, no playstyle that is sort of meant to be played in a certain way. Right, we don't go, okay, the hacker kind of character, he's the stealthy guy, he needs to operate from the shadows, whereas the solo type, he's the one that, you know, just goes out.
I think his translators are plugging in socials. Oh no, that doesn't sound good. The best part is that they throw you right into action. You just start the game on a motorcycle, shooting red apparitions and dodging them on cars while speeding through a tunnel. Aye, man. If you access this video in another language, they have put their links in. Oh man, really?
Likes to use gunfire and you know, making people blow
that's not good.
Up. Sure, go do that, but you can also do it in a stealthy approach. It really lies in the player's hands.
It just shows sometimes that you can't trust.
So let's say
people.
I've got my 8-barrel shotgun. It's my favorite gun. I love it. What can I do to it? Can I customize it? Is it moddable? Are there any options for, you know?
So this is why I don't mind helping people, because everybody wants to grow, and
I think we can
even I start. Like, I'm not exactly a massive YouTuber or anything like that, you know. Nowhere near in any stretch of the imagination.
But customizing the visuals.
You know, if people always ask me if they want to do something, I want to help, then I always want to do it, because it wasn't too long ago that I was on
your rifle is
50 subs and
purple, you know, if
struggling.
You really want it.
You know?
But then there's the second way how you can customize it. It's different.
Someone was promoting their channel by changing the title, but the English version of that page it doesn't show.
You can have like a sniper rifle zoom on the gun. You also can boost up the stats of the weapon. So in that way,
what's
you can
the point in that? I don't understand.
To look the way you want, and you can make it to shoot the way you want.
I think, Miles, you've mentioned this before, that also changes the animation, right? As it progresses, you can change the way it looks as you reload and things like that.
Yeah, so basically the more you use your guns, who figures, the better you become at shooting them, right? You might start as a complete amateur, like I would be with shooting a gun.
Good to know.
But yeah, I'm not a very good shot. And the better you become with it, you know, that actually affects your way of handling a gun. So, you know, your crosshair might become smaller, indicating that your accuracy increases ever so slightly, and that will also.
So we could John Wick it in a cyberpunk world.
Your animation,
that'd be awesome.
Like your reload speed will be faster and all that stuff. So you actually really get this sense of progression and your character evolving as you play the game, and. Yeah.
How long is this, Jimmy? To be fair, mate, I was. I'm surprised how long it is myself.
You can customize a gun,
to be honest, they told me it was going to be 15 minutes. I don't know how long I've been streaming for, but it does feel a considerably amount longer than what I was expecting.
So much. I know there is one thing we haven't talked about from the demo, and that is a little bit more about the gangs. We spoke about the Voodoo Boys.
Also, the futuristic world. I really think it would be during the gas chain. Moving on, there's so much nice ways to promote your channel. I like just asking like I did.
I thought I'd actually throw out
exactly. I mean.
The Godfather
that's what it is.
So I caught up with Mike Pondsmith at Gamescom to ask him, who are the Voodoo Boys and who are the animals?
Hi, my name is Mike Pondsmith, and I'm the guy who killed your cyberpunk characters. And today I'm going to talk to you about
the creator himself.
I'm going to talk to you about animals, and I'm going to talk to you about the Voodoo Boys. So let's take the Voodoo Boys. When I created them many, many years ago, I was looking at kind of a really interesting idea, which is what we would now call cultural appropriation. What happens when somebody comes in
I'll definitely check that out,
to
man.
adopt a culture that they know
it is a game I've been
nothing
looking at
about and does it really badly. But one of the great things about having a few years is that you get a chance to do some redos. And one of the best ones is what we have with Voodoo Boys now. The Voodoo Boys in 2077 are really Voodoo Boys. They inherited the name, but it was sort of a natural fit. They were coming from Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and they were the real thing. And they managed to take a lot of the elements of their original culture and meld it into the world of 2077 to bring that cyberpunk vibe into a very old and respected culture.
I love the
So
dirty
gang,
cyberpunk background
not
as well.
really.
There
more
that
of a
they set up for
cultural
Gamescom.
phenomenon. They're more a way of
Yeah, I've been streaming for about 1 hour and 25 minutes.
And
Jesus!
I think it's
Wow.
really cool.
I knew it was longer than 15 minutes, but I did not realise I'd been streaming for that long.
that we normally wouldn't see. On the other hand,
It's all good in a kind of way because the more people that kind of watch it, the more I go into my watch time. I'm actually going to do a video, like a news update soon, just talking about my watch time. Because I have like a kind of a bit of a cool announcement for it. Well,
really strong.
Sort of news.
The animals are like those guys.
But I'd keep
They're
you
in
guys
it
up to date.
to basically build themselves up and become the tigers of their particular urban jungle. They want to be big, they want to be bad, and they want you to fear them just because they exist. And you know, it's really easy to fear a guy who blots out the sun when he walks by you. But the animals are very simple. They have an ethos: get big, lift, get strong, lift. So unlike the Voodoo Boys, who have a culture, the animals have a thing.
Have a way of life.
And contrasting that is interesting, because in 2077, you get a chance to see that not every gang
check your
is the same as
Discord
every other
DMS.
gang.
I will do every.
What motivates them.
I will do it as soon as I'm
depends
finished
on
with the stream. I will be
the people
doing
you meet on the street.
plenty of stuff. I'm also streaming on Twitch as well, guys. If you guys are interested in that,
I'm still here to do a
then
cyberpunk character.
if you want to come in, chat to
We
me,
hope you enjoyed our
and continue
deep
it.
dive into Cyberpunk
I'll be playing some Dead by Daylight.
2077. Now, don't forget, you can join us on Twitter, Facebook, forums, and even join us on Discord to make sure you stay up to date on all of our news. Cyberpunk 2077 is launching April 16th, 2020, and is available for pre-order now. On behalf of everybody working on Cyberpunk and here at CD Projekt Red, we thank you for watching, your ongoing support, and we can't wait for you to explore Night City.
Cyberpunk 2077. I cannot wait for this game. I have already pre-ordered it. Amazing. Yes, guys. So there we go. That is the live reaction to the Cyberpunk 2077 trailer and the dev talk after it, guys. It was a little bit longer than I thought it would be, guys. So I appreciate all of you for sticking around and being part of it. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. The gameplay looked crazy good. I'm gonna be editing this as well to just cut the trailer reaction. I'm gonna post that in a second, so I'm gonna be pretty busy. Just everything about this game just looks amazing, from the story to the characters to the care that people are putting in. Everything looks amazing. Everything just looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. While you're live, react to the trailers for Astral Chain if you haven't seen them. Astral Chain. Go on. I'll do one request while we're here. Why not? Why not? Let's do this. I'll do this one specifically for you, man. So I got two things to react to.
Peggy 16.
People of the Ark, your time is drawing to a close.
This is a really big game for Switch as well. And to go from platinum.
They will ask you to sacrifice everything for their ambitions. To sell you a false peace, building a cage around you with lies. Prepare yourselves.
That music.
Sacrifice.
They declared a state of emergency.
Nura, move out.
Roger.
Iris is on, people. Time to look for clues.
Oh, digging that music.
Don't worry, I prepared entertainment.
Yeah.
You're the one who's got to save the world now. Go!
Dad! Dad!
No!
I don't need any help.
Why'd you have to go and pull my heartstrings in the middle of a trailer?
She's not human.
Ooh. God, everybody's just dying.
You're quite persistent. I can't let
I
you.
must admit, I've been lacking on my Switch a little bit, so to see this is, I think I need to crack open the old Switch again. Oh, wow. Oh, that soundtrack. The way that it's kind of the cameras and the different action scenes kind of reminds me of Noir Automata.
Whatever it takes.
Oh, I definitely need to play that. I definitely need to play. Definitely need to play that. That's a hell of a good trailer. That's a hell of a good trailer. It's 3:14 here. What time is it for me? It is for me right now 8:15. It is 8:15 here, guys. So same, to be honest, getting 3 houses here soon. It's 3/7 here for me. What time for you? So, oh God, bloody hell, 9:20 in the morning for Waverley. Jesus. No, it is. It is 8:15 in the evening for me here, guys. So, yeah, it's been amazing. Right, guys. Well, I do have a lot of things to do. I'm going to edit that live stream so I can take my Cyberpunk reaction bit on there, post it on. I'm playing some Dead by Daylight as well, guys, on Twitch as soon as I finish that. So if you fancy coming to talk to me on Twitch, fancy coming hanging out and play some games and that, by all means, guys. I posted a link. It does look good. It does look good. I need to fix my Switch a little bit because I have that. The analog sticks have gone on both sides of my Switch, and they drift badly. So I need to buy 2 new docking bits of the Switch. The drift on the Switch has been awful. It's my only criticism of it, but it does look like a hell of a cracking game, and I'm definitely interested in that. To be able to play that game. Well, it's a hell of a game, hell of an exclusive to have on Switch, especially from a developer as good as Platinum Games. That's a hell of a win for them. And with that being said, guys, I really appreciate you being here. We've been up to like 7 viewers for a while. That is more than I could have hoped for this. It's been absolutely brilliant. Stay awesome, guys. Stay breathtaking. And with that, guys, I will gonna end it here. So thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. Neon Reaper signing off. Bye, guys.